So we've got our top 3 here. Currently in the lead, Nicorat, Mixu, and Garnath are about to battle it out. Loser eliminated, they get third place. Winner moves on to the grand final where they have to fight for their chance to take down the whole thing against another powerhouse Celestial player. But we got Mixu versus Garnath coming up here. Winner hoping to fight against Nicorat in the grand finals. But for now, we got another Vanguard versus Celestial powerhouse coming your way. Let's get into it. Here we go. Loading up on Secluded Grove as game 1 in this best of 5. This is the potential end of our Season 0 runner-up. And we've got, of course, spawning up in the north, our red Celestial player, known as Garnath. Interesting. His opponent spawning in the south, representing Vanguard. He is Mixu. All right. So Doggo comes in, sees everything going on, but he's like thrown off a little bit. All right. You see him like on the hunt looking around because he's like, things are weird. Sometimes players will go and take this right away, but it's because this is what's happening. Guardian Nexus going over at this third base location here. So we're going to be seeing a very aggressive opening out of our Celestial player, staying inside the main base, utilizing the prisms to get his economy up and running very quickly here, and then we'll be able to, once we get powered up, ready to go. But you could see kind of the not as much power. There we go, the Kree opening here. So this is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum of early aggression, right? We had the like very strong Argent style of play. That's not going to be the case here. We're going for the Kree this time. We're getting the rollout ability. It gives them that extra armor, extra movement speed when they're not attacking, so they kind of roll in and deal extra damage against light units. Well, we know that scouts are light units here. Yes, you have lancers, but your opponent has shown they go for the one lancer mass dog opening. They did it pretty much every single game. So identifying that, you can be able to adapt your play, right? You go, I'll go for this Kree opening and be up in my opponent's face and start rolling in and really taking advantage of their weak scouts, right? Yes, they're mobile, but that's about it. So first Kree is going to come out. We're going to see the fight over here at the slime. And he sees that, okay, you are abandoning the slimes. So let's be able to get that extra resource. But the Kree going to roll in here now, get this information, and immediately gets that extra bonus damage there. But we see a big power-up says, no, we're getting these to level 3. We're taking this over. You want to fight this? That's fine. I got my Lancer here. I've got my dog here, and let's do it. We're going to try to get the last hit. It's going to be the fight over the slime here. Both of them going to be trying to micro this down, but we do see the Kree, Celestials for Garnath take that last hit, and we'll be able to kind of reposition and get himself set up. But health is really important in this, right? We know, especially when you're rolling around dealing some damage, you're going to need that extra health. But the dog's going to try to find an angle. Oh, Lancer finds the Kree rolling around. Big reveals coming out here, trying to see, okay, what's going on. But just look how much damage they do to these scouts. Pay close attention of just how quickly the scouts' health get dropped when the Kree run into them. Still revealing, still trying to get information about what's happening. Going to try to hang out here, delay this as long as possible, and he can kind of run through the trees and try to keep up this effort. The Kree, of course, unable to run through here very easily. Boom, there they go. They found their path. They're like, all right, as long as you're controlling them right, you should have no problem zipping through. Very small units are able to slip through the trees, which is cool. Bigger units, not able to. But the Kree really looking for that angle here, and they found it. They were going to try to get a little bit of a surround, try to trap these dogs in place, and this is kind of this advantage of, okay, oh, a Lancer shows up here. We're in this weird spot where the Bobs are going to be vulnerable. So we're in this kind of mass Sim City mode trying to set things up. But here we go. This nice little shift here. This is the big difference of being able to go for the Kree. They can't attack up. So the Argents work out really well in this. But if you can power out and take out the ground, the Hornet is not going to matter. Lancer is here going to try to get himself on over, get into this little repair-o-matic, going to Bob thrown in here to repair up all the dogs. heal them up nicely, and then worst case, you could be able to throw your Lancer in there, get a little buzzsaw cannon for added DPS to help defend you here. But this is kind of going to be this mass sim city. We want to protect our Bobs as much as possible against all the Kree. So giving that information that it is a Hornet opening, we're going to be seeing, yep, more defensive structures, strike nodes coming out here, and we see kind of that big shield going to come up here and try to deal with this, and we do see that single targeting down, going right for those prisms. 2 get sniped off here. The third one's going to go down as well, and will he be able to get out before he gets to the fourth? Oh, he gets them all and trades off the Hornet for the prisms, but this is like that cripple your opponent's economy playing here. Let's be able to take that out and kind of mess them up something fierce, and we're still able to kind of zip around with some dogs, be able to be annoying. In the meantime, Kree is going to start taking off the watchtowers, and it's going to be like, okay, who can gather up as many resources as possible by using the creep camps? Both have very mobile forces for doing this. The Kree going to be very helpful when they get into an actual engagement. Are there any more Hornets getting produced here? Not at the moment, but we are going to be starting to show the next stages, the next transition coming out with the Biokinetics Lab to really power up our bio forces here. We've got, of course, one more Hornet zipping around trying to find more angles to attack, and there's the Cabal coming down. So this is the nice little transition to go with the Kree, because you get to slow your opponent's army, slow them down quite a bit here, but Kree really need to make it back over to this health camp and heal up, but something that the Hornet has control over, which is really nice. And Doggo's going to see the Kree here, a lot of them very low, so this might be something you want to actually try to fight, especially with Hornet support getting in there, and will start picking them off. Yes, they do have that added armor when they're rolling around like that, but it doesn't really matter when there's a Hornet above raining fire. We will fight over this camp, but it is contested, still in control for Vanguard here, and more of our Kree getting picked off, rolling around. There is the Cabal coming around here, and will he get the trap? He sees it, so he's going right for it. He's going to get the surround on it, and will try to start picking it apart. Kree turn to try to fight it. Pay close attention to this Cabal. This is kind of this desperate ditch effort to get it into the main base, and it does get cleaned up there. Great snipe there for Mixu, identifying that there was a Cabal out where he should not have been, and this kind of gives this indication. Oh, can I get over here? But look at this Sim City he's got here. Do you see that little tuck back here? Yeah, strike node hidden in the back corner there. Very nice. More power banks get added in here so we can kind of heal up, get ready to go, and get ready to start rolling out again, all Bionicle style, as we roll our way around the map. The power of that the Kree have is really nice against these kind of light units, but we've got Exos getting added in here. We've got Hornets getting added in here. So these high damage units that are the main backbone of this force. But the Kree's numbers are not very high yet. Right, so that's why things get a little bit dangerous, and he's going to distract these dogs and really pull himself on over here. Basically, you're just saying, yeah, go ahead. Chase me around. This gives me more time to kind of get set up. And look at this. Kree going to get over here. We'll ascend this camp, get all these extra added resources here, and be ready to go. But we know this, so we get to catch another Kree. But that's the whole thing, right? It's a distraction. All right, the Kree over here is not really like the full army. You might have hoped that it was, so you can trap that whole army there and then be in a better spot. But this is going to force our first big fight. Cabal's coming over here. How well can they slow this army down? We already see the Lancers getting slowed down. We're seeing quite a bit of slow take place, but he's got to be fighting back at this collection ray, because that Sovereign's Watch there will add that extra DPS and extra defense that he needs. So Mixu identifying that is going to be repositioning and getting himself in a better spot over here at the Watchtower. Like, this is a nice spot, right? That soft contained outside of your opponent's base, where you can kind of have as a landing point to send reinforcements over here and really keep checking on things. But we'll see this kind of, let's reposition over here, take out the slimes, get the added bonus for it, and really kind of power up to those next stages. Since we've got our natural up, we're getting a great Sim City going over here, right? Lots of barracks getting added in, so we're powering up for those next stages here to really add an even higher exo count here. But look at this. Oh my gosh, the timing. He's going to try to loop his way around here. There's the Ascension, says you cannot have this camp. I'm not going to give you the resources for it. Exos try to fight over it, but doesn't happen. The Kree are able to kind of roll on out. But this basically says, all right, I really just wanted to get some extra healing. Yeah, the resource would have been nice, but it's nice to know that your Kree are not where they're supposed to be. And they are going to continue to roll around. He's also looking to see kind of what's going on. Can I be able to sneak my way in here and take these camps? Yes, awesome, great. That's exactly what I want to see, but your natural is not really powered up the way that you want it to be, which means we can have a nice little pounce on here. And there we see Doggo's running in, going right for the attack here. Link node not powered up yet. Power station is destroyed, and so is this collection array, because what do you got left? Yep, there's a Sovereign's Watch, but it doesn't matter with the amount of damage coming out from these Exos, from the Hornets, and now we're going to try to move into the main base here. Yeah, we've got some strike nodes, but that's it. Look at these power banks crumbling. Oh my gosh, we're in the red. We do not have the power to support all this at the moment. We got some Sovereign Watches coming down here. Going to add some extra damage. There's the Kree coming in here. Cabal's slowing everything down. More Kree get on top of this army. This is exactly what Garnath needed, because all these units are light units, so they will be taking that extra bonus damage to them for this, and we do scramble and start to retreat. But we did snipe out that natural location here, but it's now 2 base to 2 bases. We need that extra bonus. Boom, big speed bonus coming out here, and we're going to start splitting up, not to try to let the Kree deal too much damage, but watch out for these explosions. You got to split them even more, and there it is. Great control. GG is called. Mixu takes game number 1 in this best of 5 series here. I like the Kree opening. A lot of that was kind of identifying the way that your opponent had played in the previous game and being able to try to adapt. Okay, this map, I need to get out there. I need to roll around. I know he's going for dogs. I know he's doing this. Let's get in and see what we can make happen. But Mixu just kind of was able to keep track of the army and keep his opponent distracted, running all over the map, doing these things. Oh, here's a Hornet. Here's these things, and really kind of defended well. There was never really a big push up into the base where we've seen the Kree really hoping for. Let me get in. Let me get on top of the Bobs, force you into a very awkward position. We did not get to see it this time around. It was very much a defensive, like a defensive Celestial player that was forced into the defensive side of thing with the Kree. Yes, we're rolling around, we're taking camps, but at one point it's like, okay, but that's cute and that's cool, but where do you go from here? Your army is not as effective as we get like later into this game. We talked about this. The longer the game goes on, the better Mixu feels, and the better he's prepared to, start switching things up. And I'm going to bring out my Exos now. I'm going to get more Lancers out of it and build up my bio count, and it's going to get scarier for you. Yes, you have Cabals for the spell casting. Something that Garnath definitely does more than other Celestial players is utilize a lot of these spellcasters in there and their effective abilities, right? We're going to be slowing things down. We're going to be able to do these effects that hopefully allows our Kree to jump on top of that army and be more effective. Garnath versus Mixu. Our last Vanguard player, Isle of Dread, spawning in the center, but no one spawns in the center. We spawning up here in the north, currently up 1-0 in this best of 5. Tournament life is on the line for both these players. He is Mixu. All right, and his opponent spawning in the south, representing 3D Clan, the Celestial player known as Garnath. And really getting himself set up in a nice forward location here. Doggo's getting in to try to get that scouting, try to find out exactly what's going on. Sees that it is kind of the same sort of prison buildup. So a little bit of a different style compared to our other Celestial player. But this is kind of the, hey, I feel comfortable with this way. I can build up a strong economy and then utilize it there. And this gets the scout. Okay. So the way this is going to work is we're going to start building up and producing our stuff up towards this natural. Like we're going to have a nice strong foundation set up at this camp, get the extra resources from it, and go from there. Kree is the opening again. The speed and mobility is really important because it's such a large map. There's 2 pathways into your main base, so that is something both players do have to keep in mind. Natural expansions are often considered around these double Luminite mines, but we also have our additional expansion over here. But they're so far away, right? There's pathways here that we have to worry about, but they're far away and harder to defend. But first Kree out doing the creeping, we're going to be seeing a Lancer opening for Mixu in the process, and he's going to be going for a very similar build here. Doggo's going to be following it up. We already see him taking the health camp there, so we'll be able to start powering up this Lancer. But we're going to see a mobile force, a very fast force for both players to start the game out here. And there we go. Doggo's coming in, seeing what they can make happen here. Kree going to be able to utilize their extra damage, and they're going to try to find a nice little spot to help protect themselves so they don't get surrounded and get beat up too badly here. So we will be seeing, of course, our upgrade, the rollout ability, so they can really start to get that added speed, the added armor. Right now, they're just kind of running with their blades behind them. But the doggo's constantly revealing, trying to look for this information about where the army is. But he's got to be getting out there, got to be creeping up, got to be preparing. Now, we're still constantly scanning, looking, right? The Lancer is looking. We're now moving his way in. He's going to catch the army here. Going to get the last hit. Does not get the last hit, but will be able to kind of pounce on it. Big upgrade coming down on the scout, and he's very low health, though. Where are the rest of the dogs? There they are. Now we're getting the surround. We're going to try to trap these armies in here. The upgrade for rollout is not done, and one of the Kree gets cleaned up. There it does finally finish, and now we could try to start fighting and running and repositioning ourselves here, but we don't want to be fighting the Lancer. Our main focus is to fight the dogs here because they are light units. They will be taking that extra damage that we can be able to deal with them, so we're going to be kind of repositioning, constantly rolling out, trying to find a way to reposition and fight this army. But you can see this kind of really micro-intensive early start to this game as both players are constantly scrambling and fighting over this contention. You want to trap these units in here like this so the explosion actually deals bonus damage, and we get the Lancer to be cleaned up here. But the Kree can now start rolling out and rolling their way on over to try to fight these dogs. Look at this, very low health one. One will get sniped off. Very, very high damage on the scouts being level 3, though. So that is one thing that you also have to be able to think about, is that kind of added bonus that they've got. But the Kree can now kind of get more information. Good healing flower here. Continuing up mass Kree production over here, utilizing the prisms, utilizing our link nodes to kind of help us out and kind of build up. Our second creation chamber is going to be built up here as well. So Hornets, though, are the response. So this build we saw wasn't as effective in the first series by Mixu, but because your opponent is going for a Kree build, this Hornet build becomes so much stronger. Also, because Garnath is going for a prism-based economy instead of just kind of expanding and taking all the expansions on the map, this will be able to help him out to be able to snipe those. But again, doggos on the ground, very weak against the Kree, so you have to be mindful of that. And if you're going for this fast kind of doggo Lancer style of play, you're going to be in trouble. And look at this. Kree don't care. They're rolling out. And this is the thing that didn't happen in game 1. He says, I'm going to be going and ignoring anything that you have and going right for the bombs and try to deal damage, because worst case scenario, all these Kree die and they turn into bombs and stop you from mining. And there we go, getting on top of the army. Exactly what you want to see happen here. Doggo's coming in to try to help out. The Hornet is not going to be over here. He's going to be moving his way across the map to try to do some harassment. So we're going to be seeing kind of this double attacks taking place. The Hornet's going to be moving in and trying to hit these prisms. We see him zipping his way on over there. In the meantime, Kree are getting cleaned up, but this is that bomb we're talking about. He wants to be able to have it die near the bobs to deal extra damage. Not dealing the damage that he was hoping for, but there we go. Sovereign's Watch going to be popping up here, as well as using the Cabals to slow it down, and he does end up managing to escape. We got that little return to the hangar boost that allows your flying units to kind of retreat back home without being able to get interrupted. It's just a little button that you can press, and they automatically go back home to be able to heal up here. But good defense so far. Both players are defending well, right? The Hornet didn't deal serious damage here. He had the Cabals ready to slow it down. He had the Sovereign Watch. We had quite a bit of damage to the bombs, but not the damage that maybe he was hoping for here. So now both players can kind of go, okay, we got through the early stages. Take a breath. Let's get set up for the next stages here. That's going to be controlling the towers. That's going to be continuing to creep up, and hopefully players will be able to start getting set up for different expansions here. So we can see kind of Lancers and Doggos moving their way around, trying to find the avenue. Again, it's a very large map, so if the Doggos can find different avenues to attack, that would be great. Kree still rolling all over the place. And that's the cool thing about if you watch the mini-map and just see those blips of vision that these players have, they're constantly looking around, trying to catch each other's army, trying to see what happens. But now we've got 2 Hornets flying their way on over here. Cabals are on patrol mode. They know something is up. They know it's going to happen, and he's going to catch one. Oh, that's huge. Look at this. We'll get the slow effect on here, and they barely can move. Oh, heals that up. Almost was able to catch him there. So he wants to be able to move in, but he's got to be careful of the Sovereign's Watch. So he will be able to get over here. Just, oh my gosh. barely moving, but enough to be able to take out this prism here. So we do get this little fight off. In the meantime, Kree still rolling around, taking out camps on the other side of the map here. There's the Sovereign Watch. That's what we were looking for. This nice little defensive, hey, slow this down, stop this unit from being able to harass the way that we have been expecting it. But expansion is going to be taken over on the left-hand side. So because we're going for Hornets, we don't need to rely just on the Luminite mine. We need our additional resources here as well. That's why we're going for this expansion here instead of what often players will go for this double Luminite. And that is kind of what Garnath is setting up for with the Morph Core here. He's going to be planning for that. But look at this. Hornets aren't done. They're coming in. They're getting the information. You're also going to be trying to distract your opponent with this. Hey, pay attention to this. More and more Kree coming out. We're going to find, hopefully, a safe spot. Sovereign's Watch gets popped. Ooh, the shield's coming out. Will he be able to get out of there? Oh, 2 health, dead. Did not get out of there in time. 1 Cabal and a rollout of Kree. They're going to find this base, and they're going to pounce right on top of the Bobs. Look at this. A couple of them basically are sacrificing their life to run the block here. More and more Lancers coming in. Exo is out, but look how slow he is. He can barely move through this here. And these very, very low health units are going to just get picked apart by the Kree. This is exactly what you want to have happen as Garnath here. But losing the Cabal is going to make it a little bit tougher. More and more reinforcements going to come out. This has that defender's advantage here for Mixu to be able to kind of regroup his troops here and rely on his exos, on his dog. Does another big quick scan to check to see, okay, are there more troops behind this? How are things working? There, the Hornet comes back very low health, but you don't have to worry about any anti-air with this Kree army. So we can start picking apart these units and be able to defend this base. We did lose quite a bit of bombs. We did lose quite a bit of mining in the process here, but both players are still pretty even in the process here. Neither player has been able to really get out and take advantage of the amount of creep camps that are on the map, and part of that is because it's such a large map, right? It's very hard to get over here and move out and start taking these over on the left hand and the right hand side. Really have to be close enough to your base to defend, knowing that your opponent is going to be constantly moving just this straight line, the fastest path possible across the map here, especially with the Kree that have that rollout ability that allows them to kind of move faster, get more armor. But Mixu defends well. Now it's up to Garnath to kind of reposition, decide how he wants to go about it with the next one, and it looks like he is ready for another attack here, but the Hornet decides to stay at home this time instead of move over to attack. More Cabal is coming out here, though, which will be helpful. Ooh, the Hornet see it? So pay close attention to these Cabals in the next fight. Pay close attention to the Exos. That's the main thing that is going to need to get pounced on. And they do right away. Look at them. Their health just gets diminished so quickly with the Kree slicing them in half. And that is a huge blow to Mixu's army count there. Now he's going to have to be able to scramble to try to get up his sentry post. It does not get up in time, and Bobs are fighting Kree, which is never where you want to have happen. You got a wave of dogs coming in, but they are also light units, so they are very weak to these Kree rollouts here, and we see the Bobs kind of scramble. Oh my gosh, even slower. Exo going to be trying to crawl his way back home and will be cleaned up here. More Bobs now in shambles as they repair each other. We see kind of even more reinforcements coming out saying, yes, this attack was very effective. I was able to clean you up. We had a lot of stuff committed to this, trying to get this base up and running, and now where is the army? It's gone. Not here. Not able to deal with anything here. Back at home, we've got so many power banks, so much energy built up to be able to constantly be able to produce these army. There's the Hornet, and it is immediately pulled there. There's the GG, the last remaining Cabal, making all the difference in it. Garnath takes, Garnath. Oh, I didn't change the names. That's why. Hey, let's change the names. It's not Nicarat anymore. I forgot to press the update scoreboards there. There we go. Very exciting. Game number 2. The Kree. That's what we were hoping for when we went for the Kree in the first game, is keep the pressure on our opponent and get those to where we need to, which is against the Bobs, against the Exos. You want to be able to build up your Exo count so you can be able to have a high amount of damage, transition to the next stage of the game. But if the Kree jump on it, they just get eaten alive, and that's exactly what happened in that game, and really going to be adding that extra stress there for Mixu to try to adapt and change his gameplay there. I mean, I like the way he was going about it. It was working out really well. The Hornets were keeping him alive for a while, and then it was just that one tipping point there where the Kree just kept rolling in. Basically, it was like, all right, here's my next 6 Kree, go right to that expansion. Next 6 Kree, go right to that expansion. And eventually, I'm just going to try to overwhelm my opponent and keep him stuck back at home, not able to harass, not able to do the things that he wants to do. And if I can catch them, like we saw that last fight as the Exos were kind of in a straight line walking over to try to defend, the Kree just slammed right into him and started slicing them in half, and like half of its army just got destroyed there. So very, very tough. The slow makes it a huge difference to allow the Kree to close the gaps and stuff like that using the Cabals. So very tough position to be in as a Vanguard player going into it. But hey, we're going back to Broken Crown. We're going to it, the classic. So the only map that we did Isle of Dread, Secluded Grove. We haven't seen Lost Hope, but my guess is if we go to the next game, Lost Hope is probably coming up. So we've got Broken Crown. We saw how good Mixu is on this map. This one is going to be the one that I'm most excited to see how well Mixu does. Because he got to the late stages, he got to start getting the Atlas drops going. And if you're a Vanguard player and you've seen Atlas drops, it's like amazing. But let's get into this game over here, spawning up here in the north. Ooh, too far north. It is our Red Celestial player tying things up with the power of the Kree, representing 3D Clan. He is Garnath. Just hanging out in base here. Nice and defensive creation chambers. What you'd expect to see. Probably another Kree opening, let's be honest. His opponent, though, spawning in the south. The last remaining Vanguard player left in the tournament. He is our blue Vanguard player, known as Mixu. And immediately gets revealed by Garnath, just to kind of confirm, hey, what do you got going on? What are you doing over there? And he did get to see, all right, the normal opening. All right, we like no quick tech up out of craziness here. It's just like, what are you doing? All right. He also gets to see that he is certain to mine from our not just Luminite, but also our secondary resource here, and we'll be kind of building that up here. But it's the normal opening. Lancer into Doggos. It gets you a hardy unit that can help absorb a lot of hits. He's got a lot of armor, helps you out in this regard. All right, he's a heavy unit, so you get to absorb all these hits, while the dogs are the damage dealers, the speed, the power that you need for the creeping. This is kind of a go-to style as a Vanguard player. The other side, yep, there's the rollout. We're getting the creep power up here. We're going to start going over and getting our own creep camp set up. And this is going to be a very kind of in-base defensive style of play. We're getting the prisms added in here. It's kind of the same sort of style that has worked out before. And going for the health camp right away is a great way to start out on Broken Crown. A lot of players used to go and take out like the speed camps that go over to the lefts and the right. But the health camp is so important for in the early stages where you don't have very many troops and you get to be able to fight over. And look at this. Oh, catches this Kree right off the bat. That is huge. Look at him be able to take that out. One big hit right there. And now he's just keeping the pressure. Going to be trying to get the surround. Does not get it. Oh, does get it. Actually trapping him in there, taking a lot of damage. Got to be very careful about that one scout there, though. So every little bit counts. Big power up. Look at this huge level up for all these troops. He says, I'm coming at you. Let's see how well you deal with this. I'm not going to let you just get too many Kree, and he's going to roll these Kree back home, start to heal up, get himself ready. There's the Morph Core, going to try to come in here and deal some extra damage, but loses out on the added income bonus here. So look at this. Boom, boom, boom. We'll kill off some slimes. This Morph Core is really focused down and going to try to target these down. But there's the Kree coming out. The Lancer has to be the one in the way, dealing some extra damage. But look at this. 2 quick hits. That Scout took a huge chunk of damage. That's the main difference between being a light unit and being a heavy unit here. So we'll lose one of the slimes. That's okay. We stole some from our opponent. We should not have gotten any of these slimes if we're the Vanguard player. So Lancer, what are you doing, bro? Oh, the Kree are trying to get him surrounded. And he does get surrounded here. Doggo's going to try to come in here and save him, escort him back home. There is the healing flower, too, so Lancer can get healed up. A couple Doggos continuing to be annoying. And, oh, gets the scout off and sees the creation chamber. So he goes, all right, this is your next launching point. All right, that's a big thing to identify when you're fighting against the Celestial. We know that they have their one main hub that they're going to be producing from, which sometimes it's their natural expansion, all right? Sometimes it's third base. And then usually they pick a secondary location that they want to be able to utilize. And this is going to be that secondary location here. And the Doggos identify it, and we'll start harassing. Now, this is one of those things that you go, oh, you don't care about this. That's bad for me, because here come the Kree. And the Hornet just got sent out here, so he is going to have to be able to come back home. The Bobs are trying to get the sentry post built, and it does not get built in time. There's the doggos coming in, and we're going to try to trap all these Kree in here. But this is that pressure that we talked about last game that works so well, is the Kree need to get in here and need to make something happen. They need to utilize all their damage, all their speed, and dogs are going to try to run the block, and they get quite a few actually here, dealing quite a bit of damage. One does get cleaned up. Sentry post is done now. In the meantime, Cabals are popping out. We're getting ready. We're building up here for the next stages. This is going to be a very similar build and unit comp that we saw in game number 2 here for game number 3. Mixu going to relying on the speed of the dogs, going to be having the Lancers to kind of help him out, adding a couple in there as well because of how hardy they are. And look how close this creation chamber has gotten so far. Very nice, very nice. We can have a big burst and try to take this out if we can catch these. Look at this Hornet coming in. Hey, you can't stop this. Yeah, you have your Cabals, but what are you going to do about it? And look, Doggo's even coming back. Says your units are very low health, and I'm going to start picking apart those ones that are low health. Can he get the surround? And he is going to get quite a few. Look at this. They will be cleaned up. Watch for that extra damage if he's not careful there and doesn't get any extra damage. Good control, but the doggo count is getting very high. The Kree have not been able to get into too high of numbers. We took out the creation chamber. Now this is a very different game. This is that game that we've been seeing as, hey, we're going to stay on one basis. You deal with your stuff. I'll deal with my stuff. We're going to do some fights. Who controls the map is going to control this game. And right now, Mixu is controlling the map. He's been able to trap Garnath in his base. We had a Kree run by that wasn't very effective here. Part of that is the amount of SimCity. Part of that was the dogs were able to run back quick enough. Yes, we lost some workers, but we have really been relying heavily on our dog numbers, and they have not been depleted at all. So we can kind of keep this pressure over here. The Hornet's still coming in, still trying to be annoying here. Ooh, dog's going to catch a Kree. There is a strike node to add a little bit of extra DPS, so it's not like we can really just kind of get in and end the game. All right, especially with here's the additional power banks. We're really building up here as our kind of safe haven inside of our main base. But, you know, it's only a matter of time before, like, Mixu tries to take an expansion or Mixu does something to creep up, tech up that maybe Garnath can find a window to capitalize on, having more units than his opponent. That's not the case yet, right? We look at our supplies 47 to 20, but Garnath is safe in his base. All right, Mixu cannot go in here and try to bust him and break him here with the strike nodes, with the Sovereign's watches to be able to turn other buildings into towers. Like, it's not an easy spot to be in, but this makes Mixu able to kind of zip around, take control of everything. We see the Bobs moving down to the natural expansion here. He's going to be able to start taking that base. This is kind of that nice little advantage that Vanguards gets. You can have multiple units build your structures. And here we go. Still creeping out, still getting all the information. And, oh, there we go. Nice. Collection array coming out here. So we are going to be trying to get our own expansions up. We are going to start sending the Kree out now to gather up and get information, right? We got to get over here to get this Luminite Tower. That's going to be a huge influx here of that trickle in additional resources that Garnath needs to get to these next stages here. Another creation chamber getting added in, so we're going to get the double Kree production and really start to build up, utilizing our Cabals for the slow, utilizing the Kree for the extra damage, but Hornet's back. Do we got a shield that we can pop? Taking out the prisms. One goes down. Second one goes down and gets out. No shield needed. Your little strike node. No Sovereign Watch to help out. And look at this. The Kree, like, I gotta get him. Yeah, you don't. You're not going to get there. Oh, no. Look at the timing. This timing of the camp immediately switching, and Mixu is there to pounce on it. That's kind of that main difference in awareness and of playing the game for so long to understand the timing. Yeah, GG is called. He sees the amount of exos that are there. He goes, oh, I'm even further behind than I thought. So Mixu will take game number 3 here. Not getting to the late stages, but just playing a very solid, very straightforward controlling game of controlling the map, controlling how things are working, not losing too many units early on, having great map awareness and map control really allowed him to kind of take that series there and just kind of like, okay, your Kree run by is coming. I have great SimCity. I can defend this well. I'll get a couple picks off. If the Kree run by did more damage, that would have been a very different game. But the fact that it didn't, and Garnath couldn't really capitalize on anything after that, put him in a much tougher position. And here we go in the center of the Titan's Causeway, where it's got this Illuminite tower hidden away by trees. But we're worried about the players, and spawning up in the north, currently leading 2-1. Our last remaining Vanguard player, he is Mixu. His opponent, spawning in the south, going for the Prism Collection. He is known as our blue Celestial player, representing 3D Clan, Garnath. And he's going for this kind of forward position, already taking that natural expansion. He's going to be setting it up as this is his forward base, right? He'll be starting to get his collection arrays, things like that, and creation chambers all set up as his forward base here. If you're not familiar with Titan Causeway, there's a couple unique features to this map that is different than any other map. One is your natural expansion has multiple pathways into it. Most of the time, you'll be seeing people come from this path or this path. It's rare that they'll come from the right-hand side because the right-hand side does have a tucked-away expansion in here. But that's not really what we're worried about. We're worried about the health camp that is right by us because that's our main path. The additional camps that we want are going to be north of our location if we're in Celestial's side of things and Garnath's side. But if you're in Mixu's, you're going south. So we've got, of course, our Vision camp. All right, additional Therium camps. Same sort of deal here as our kind of goal is we're going to be creeping north and south. Eventually, we will be fighting over these speed camps in the centers of the map. That's a big place. Not often do we see players go for the Luminite mine. Part of that is because you have to tear the trees down to be able to get into it, but it does happen from time to time. So be aware that that could be an option for these players. There is this little double Luminite mine here tucked away, but you don't really get access to that Therium by taking this. There's, most of the time people will easily take this natural expansion. Sometimes you'll see people be really greedy and get this, like Celestial players will get that, early on. But that is not going to be the case here. We see the creeping taking place with the Arc ship. Creation chamber done. Kree coming out again. So we're going for the exact same build that we did before. So we know we can make this work if we can get in there. And the ramp to get in is pretty large, right? It's a very large main base. A lot of surface area to have to worry about getting into, something a little different than last time. And now we're seeing the command post get down. We're going to quicker tech up to our natural expansion. Part of this is being able to identify that our opponent went for a quicker natural expansion setup here. So we kind of are aware of that is the case. And if we can kind of identify that, SimCity, protect this area, we can be able to get into a little bit of a more mid-game focus set of matches here. But again, we talked about how both players are going to be fighting over those speed camps. That is the case. These ones, of course, easier to take out than, say, the Vision camp or the Therium mines and stuff like that. So there, another quick reveal. And oftentimes we see players kind of like pass each other in the night, right? We'll see kind of the move out to the left, the move out to the right as both players are kind of posturing and identifying what's going on. Where are you at? What are you doing? Of course, the watchtower does make this a little bit easier to identify. And look, the doggo's getting in, says, no, you're not going to be able to get this health camp. I'm not going to let you do it. And, gets the surround, traps him in the corner here. Lancer coming in to kind of help out, and he's got to be very careful. Good micro with the doggos, trying to deal the extra damage there. He can, but remember, these will deal extra damage to the dogs, so he's got to be very careful in this little fight and has to rely on his Lancers. Pulls the dogs back, heals them up, and gets himself ready. We've got, a Biokinetics lab, so we're going heavier into the bio side of play, going for the additional damage for our dogs, and really going to be building up this Lancer count, the Exo count, into the kind of mid stages here. But the Kree are going to be annoying. They're going to continue to push up and posture up here. It's going to rely on the Lancer. It's going to be relying heavily on the SimCity, but controlling this health tower will become the new forward location to try to trap him in here and go for this little fight over here, this forward, like soft contain with just troops outside of your base. And yeah, going for the Biokinetics lab here. just kind of trying to get shots in where he can. But, oh, there's the med tech coming in and immediately going to be going inside of that sentry post to turn that into a little healing fountain that he's got, and has this healing aura over all of his troops here. So both players basically have healing auras set up around them. Still, more and more Kree going to be added on. So we're going to be staying in our opponent's face, utilizing all of our resources here as this big push-up. And look, he's going to be basically baiting him here, just trying to convince him it's safe, come on out. But it's not safe. More and more Kree have been added to the army, so the dog's going to have to fall back. Can any get out? A couple of them getting sniped off in this process here, but the Lancer count is going to get a little bit higher. We've got a Hornet on the way here. Another barracks is going to come in, and this is also important for blocking that path. We don't want these Kree to get in and start taking out our Bobs. So we've got to just keep the Lancers up here as our little meat shields, our wall, be annoying the best we can, and wait for our one lone Hornet to come out. I like the adaptation. This is, again, we keep talking about the very specific builds that players are going for to respond and react to how your opponent are playing, and this is one of those. Boom, nice switch up there. Quick micro, putting a buzzsaw cannon up by throwing a Lancer inside of there, and then immediately switches it back to the med station. But there's the Hornet coming up. Is he going to go for the harassment with it? So this is one of those things where he's going to go try to get over here, try to see if he can start dealing damage to any prisms, and there's quite a few here. But in the meantime, Kree splashing into the natural expansion here. There's so many dogs, such the med tech here, and we did see that little micro back and forth with the Lancer. Second sentry post has come down, but this is like, okay, the Kree want to get in, they want to get the damage, they need to get the damage, but it's not happening. In the meantime, our first Hornet has arrived, going to be starting to take them out, but the Cabal are out. We also get to see that Sovereign's Watch cleaning him up. Does he get out? Oh my gosh, no, very close. Almost escapes, but that slow from the Cabal has made all the difference here. But Doggos quickly reveal, okay, there's nothing on this side of the map. Let's take control of the health tower, regroup up, and start getting all these towers back, because look at all this blue over here in favor of Garnath, and he's going to take advantage of it as he gets more and more resources over on the left-hand side, giving that kind of advantage meter still in Garnath's favor, especially because he took out that Hornet. He's going to be having this nice little lead here, setting himself up, but he can't bust this base very easily. So it's basically just saying, I'm going to take advantage of what I've got, which is the mobility, which is the map control, and get out here and continue to build up such a large Kree count. What can Mixu do? He's got to get more and more bioforces. He needs the exos for the high DPS, but at the same time, he also needs more Lancers in here. These dogs are going to get shredded when it comes to a straight up fight. Oh, got to be careful. Trees have been destroyed, so we're going to be able to take over the center. This is really cool. There's not very much going on here that your opponent can do about this, especially with the amount of Kree that you have. With all of these Cabals, you can just pull that Hornet to the ground and you've got it. But taking the Luminite Tower here in the center is going to help skyrocket Garnath's economy even more than it already was from him being able to start sniping all those camps. And Mixu can't really contest this at this point. Right? You could try, but you're going to lose that straight up fight. So now he's in this kind of like, all right, I need to kind of build up. I need to make something happen here. And look at this. Kree going to go right on top of those Exos. They're going to just get shredded. Boom, boom, boom. Sliced in half. And this Kree army has just taken over the Vanguard side of the map. Look at this. Cabal is coming in here, pulling this one lone Hornet to the ground. And GG is called. Garnath just takes the series there to tie it up with a 2-2 match there. Very cool. I mean, even though the Kree never got into the natural, because he was able to take over the map and have the map control, utilize all of those camps, he was able to run away with the game. That's the downside to that map of you're like, well, you're going for this heavy Kree opening. I can't really stop you from doing this. I have to be defensive. And then when I'm ready to get a strong enough force to move out, I've got to be very careful about how I move out. And he got caught again where all the Kree jumped on the Exos. But there was nothing that he could have done to prevent that. There was just too many Kree in that army, so no matter how many Exos he had, they were going to get caught and pounced on and killed there. So, but you saw just how quickly they all died. It was very, very scary to try to be fighting that position, and you know your opponent is going to be going for Kree openings. This is what they feel comfortable with in the series, so we're going to be trying our best to interact and deal with it in our final game of this best of 5 series. This is the tournament life for both players on the line. Winner moves on to the grand finals there, where they will be fighting against our other Celestial player known as Nicaract. He's currently sitting there waiting. The loser eliminated gets 3rd place. So will we have a Celestial versus Celestial mirror matchup in the finals? Will Mixu go back for his revenge? We will see, as Lost Hope is our final map in this series here. Let's get it going with this. Lost Hope. I'm excited. Who's pumped up? All right. Hey, who called it, though? When we were talking about maps, right? I was saying, this is going to be the other one we see. But spawning down here in the south, tied up this series, our last remaining Vanguard player, he is Mixu. He's looking to get his title. He couldn't get it in Season 0, but he's trying this time. His opponent, with the powerful Kree play, our red Celestial player representing the 3D clan. He is Garnath. So the normal opening, you want to kind of get this expansion out, want to start creeping. The doggo's trying to come out here and try to get the last hits, but also coming out here and drawing the Sovereign's Watch is helping to delay your opponent from being able to get it. Can he get it? Oh, I don't think he got it. And he lost the scout in the process there. I like the attempt to try for it. It works out pretty well, but... So if you're not familiar with Lost Hope, let's talk a little bit about the benefits of this map compared to another. Everybody gets a natural expansion very, very easy. Nice and easy to secure. If you're Celestial, that's your initial jumping off point of where you're going to be producing all your structures and going from there. You have a nice tucked in base back here where you get your Luminite, your Therium. So players can be able to easily get up to 3 bases. Only way in is through here or busting through the natural, which is not really feasible. So it's very easy to secure 3 bases on this. There's a 4th base technically over here for both players. The way that many players get to it is breaking down these trees, but that's a much later stage in the game. Oftentimes, the game is kind of going to be decided before we get to that 4th game or much later than the 4th base game. So we're in this weird, like, could be either way depending on how players respond and how the map ends up going. But we see, of course, the Lancer and the big doggo build coming out behind it, constantly spamming, getting information, trying to look around, see what's going on. But we already know what it's going to be. It's going to be the Kree. And Doggo's coming over here, and look at this. They're going to try to fight this. They're going to try to get in here and try to get this out and kill these, get these last hits before. But Sovereign's Watch coming in, going to be really annoying. So Kree will clean this up. Got to be careful, though. You get too close, you're just going to be taking damage from both sides. But the amount of Doggos is still here. He's waiting. He knows that it's going to run out soon. We've got about 5 more seconds, and then it goes. Just understanding the timing of it will make a big difference. So, of course, it's a very large map. There's so much distance to be able to travel over here. So we're going to be trying to get in and take out the health camps because those are the easiest ones to kill on this map besides the speed camps. So both players are going to be focusing those as they run around this map and try to go for that. Like, even this Doggo is going to be coming over here to help this Lancer out as they get this secured. We've also got our securing of the speed camp over here on the right. So both players are just kind of mad creeping. Being able to utilize the dogs in this map is really helpful for running all over the place and getting the camps. But you have to be careful as the Kree are slowly building up and we'll be getting our upgrades to start going all Bionicle mode and rolling out and going Autobots in disguise over here. But we do see easy cleans up, no problem on both speed camps. Both health camps going to be taken over here. And so it's like, how are we going to deal with the same type of style here? Biokinetics Lab is the follow-up. We see the Hangar Bay coming out as well here. So he's going to be relying on it. Part of this is you identify your opponent is going for the Kree. Kree can't shoot up. You know your opponent has been going for prisms before. They're not going for the prisms this time, but it is something to kind of keep in mind. And this will get in here, distract your opponent. We've got our link node ready to go. Yeah, he's like, where's your prisms? Got one. They were hiding. Oh, great timing because he gets in here right before the Cabals pop out, so he's able to get some extra damage in here. So behind all this, we see the constant movement on the minimap. You're looking at all this blue. And look, one lone Kree there. Oh, gets the health. Cabal is trying to chase him down here, too. But we see the fight over the center. The watchtower is going to get re-secured here. The Kree were rolling around. We're able to take this. But we did get this kind of big rollback back to the base. Because if we can catch that and ground that one Hornet, we're going to be feeling so great. Because that's such an investment. But we've got double Hornets coming out here. This is going to be that big thing that you have to keep these units alive. Right? It's so much investment into these troops. All right, we're going to go for the surprise. Doggos coming in from behind, taking out one of the Krees. The next are coming in here, and the extra added damage from the slime. The Hornets pouncing on top of it. And look at this great surround. No Kree are getting out of here alive. And look, oh, good Sovereign watch there to try to prevent this from coming. But we know that was a great timing here. So many dogs were able to get this around there. Yes, Kree do the extra damage to the dogs, but if you can't move, you can't get that bonus of rolling around and the added armor, you're in trouble. So now this is that opposite effect that we saw last game where Mixu, our Vanguard player, has control of the entire map. And look, oh, this is huge. Getting in here, sniping some power banks and getting out. This is awesome. Look, we already start to see, boom, yellow, red. His energy count that he's got is depleted here, and we'll be starting to snipe a couple more Kree. Gets the Cabal. That's huge. And now the Hornets can come in. They know that the coast is clear. What can you do in this situation? That's a cute little strike node you got, but what if you have no prisms left and your economy is now in shambles? I can just fly on out of here. By the meantime, my dogs can continue to destroy your power banks, and I have all of the towers all over the map. There's so much blue on the mini-map right now. Yes, there's still a Kree army, and you can't, like, run in here and just go, okay, just a move and hope for the best. You also have to be able to have the reliance of the air. And oh, there's the first Cabal popping out here. We'll be able to bring the Hornet, but there's not enough Kree to deal with it. You can't kill this. Another one gets dropped down here, but still, there's still two left. There's still all the dogs. All the Cabals fall. The Kree are going to fall as well. And Mixu has taken over the natural expansion of our Celestial player. The Guardian Nexus will be taken out. The Creation Chamber is going to be taken out. The Collection Array is taken out. And GG is called. Mixu taken game number 5 out. Gets rid of Garnath. Moves himself back into the grand finals here. What an exciting game. I mean, that was like really just the complete opposite 180 that we saw from last time, where it's like Garnath was the one catching the army and doing this extra damage here, where it was like, oh, I identified exactly where your army is. I've kept my Hornets alive. I didn't lose it. Like, he got in at this perfect timing before the first Cabal had shown up, so you were able to really deal some extra damage to the prisms and really capitalize on that kind of like distraction, not paying attention. Oh, your Kree numbers aren't as high. You were able to creep up a little bit more. Part of that was we saw, you know, not as many prisms as last time. There was only a couple. Those got taken out, so it really disrupted his economy. So really identifying how your opponent's playing and adapting to it. And, you know, both players played very similar builds every single game, and it really came down to control. Really came down to how well those players were able to navigate and utilize their troops, catching certain ones off guard. So both of them played very well. Garnath eliminated, does get 3rd place here. That means Mixu moves back up for his revenge to try to fight against Nicorakt.